for joining us on the Right of Way Report, a podcast by Pike-Off OTA. You can join us here every Monday morning at 10 a.m., where we will bring you updates on legislation, litigation, and landowner information.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Oh, hanging in there.
On your way back?
Yeah, on our way back from, well, it's been a long trip. Colorado, Utah, and now we're in New Mexico. But we'll be home today.
Good. I'm just sending myself some pictures from the event that I can put up here from yesterday. We had a good time at the Royal Bavaria.
I bet so. I'm so sad I missed it. It's always one of my favorites.
Yeah, we had, I think the end count was 102 adults got the buffet and 8 kids. So there's about 130 people sitting outside. Some people did order off the menu, but it was good, and it kind of petered off like at 7:30. But we had a bunch of people talk, and then the people that played for us were really great. Ed and Karen, I had never met them before, but they did a really good job.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm sad I missed it. I bet everybody had a good time.
Yeah, I think they did, and we did that 50-50 board for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty fun. We sold 80 squares, so the winner got $1,000. So
whoa,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was good. I mean, I was kind of hoping, that they donate it back to us, but that's okay. They got lots of ice creams out of that. That's a big pot.
It is a big pot.
Yeah,
it's a huge pot.
So it was fun, and then Andy said we should do something again in October when more people are not on vacation and they're around. But I told him October was also football season, and people are really big into football, so we'll have to try to find a date that we can do a fall event again this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's always so good to get everybody together where we can just casually sit and chit chat and, get to know your neighbors and be around people who understand the weight of all of this. So it's always good.
Yeah, and then we had some politicians showed up, our grassroots politicians, I should say. Danny Sterling was there from House District 27. He's always been a big supporter of us. And then Jenny White came. I think that's her first time at our event, and she's from House District 36, which is real close to there. And then we had Annie Mentz, of course. She's House District 45 from Ward 5 out here. And we had Trey Kirby from Ward 5. He was there. And then Michael Nash running for District 3 County Commissioner. So it was nice to see people there supporting us and supporting the people, and listening to good music and talking to everybody. So it was a good time. Andy said that we were really hungry people. We ate a lot. So there was a lot of people going through the buffet. So that's good.
That is good. Hopefully they had enough food.
They did. They had lots of schnitzels. I think they said like 250 and then 40 pounds of potatoes. So it was a lot, but it was good. They always do such a fantastic job. If you've never eaten at Royal Bavaria, please go check them out. They've been our friends for a long time, actually. My husband and I have been going up there to eat for 20 years, but they've really, really been our friends since the Turnpike came through, and always been very, very supportive of us from the beginning. We've been there 5 years. Kelly, can you believe it's been 5 years?
No, that's crazy.
I mean, seriously, 5 years.
5
it's
years.
A marathon, not a sprint, I guess.
No wonder I feel tired.
For sure.
5 years. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So we've got a big week. Tomorrow, anyways.
Big week. Tomorrow is the primaries. And I still have a bunch of texts I have to respond to. People are saying, who should I vote for? But you can check out my Substack from last week, and I've got my voting guide of the people that I had a chance to research and who I've worked with in the past few years that I really like and I think would do a good job. And there's also a guy on Substack named Jason Murphy, and he is a former state representative, and he put out a voting guide like 2 or 3 days ago maybe, and literally he had the same picks as me. So I feel good. I feel good, like I actually know what I'm talking about. But, you know, I talked to a lot of people last night, and they said, oh my gosh, I'm going to change my vote. Because they didn't know. They haven't worked with the people. They haven't worked with the people up in the legislature, so they don't really know the shenanigans that they've played with us, because that doesn't get put in the mainstream media. And so unless you're up there, you don't really know. And I told everyone last night that you have to believe people when they tell you who they are. And so when the legislatures tell you that they're not going to listen to you, or they bring an amendment 17 minutes before the committee starts, or they do some kind of backroom deal with somebody and they go against what their constituents want, that's not the only time they've done it. And I think it's about time that the citizens, remember what their elected officials have done in the past and choose something different, because to choose the same thing is the definition of insanity. And I feel like I'm going insane most days, so I would like to see a big change up there. And you've got some really great people. If you are in Senate District 24, which is right around where the Royal Bavaria is, it's right in that area, you got a great woman running, Heather Boss. I mean, she's on fire. If you've never heard her make a speech, go search for her and listen to her give a talk, and then look at her background. She has the receipts. She's fantastic. And then there's a bunch of other people that I put in my voter guide, but check it out and please vote. Can we please have more than 10% of our voting population show up tomorrow? I'll be so disappointed if it's like another 10% output.
The primary is probably the most important. Well, it's extremely important, because if your guy doesn't make it past, or your girl doesn't make it past this round, then you're out, and then you're just screwed.
I was actually talking, I'm going to put up the voter guide in the comments, but I was actually talking to someone last night who is a registered independent, and she's in her 80s, and she and her husband, and they're definitely a conservative. They talk conservative politics, but they're registered independent. And she goes, I feel so bad, I can't participate in the primary in Oklahoma. The Republican primary is the only one that really counts right now. And I said, yeah, that's why I changed 4 years ago. But so yeah, I know it's too late now, but in the future, if you're registered independent, you cannot vote in these primaries. It would really behoove you to be able to vote, because if you've seen the Republican primary a ballot, it's 2 pages long. There's 9 people running for governor, and I don't know, 5 or 6 people running for lieutenant governor. It's crazy. And you're right.
There's only one good choice too, amongst
correct.
all of those. Yes. There's only one.
Yeah, and so someone said, why didn't you say his name last night? I go, okay, Jake Merrick has my pick. And JJ
That's
Humphrey.
Amy's personal pick.
That's Amy's personal pick. I did tell everybody I cannot endorse, through Pike-Off, but I can tell you who I would vote for, and it's very clear. And I don't want everybody to say, oh, it's a wasted vote on the grassroots candidate. If we give him a vote, then someone else that could possibly beat the people we really don't want, would be wasted. That's not a wasted vote. That is exactly that mentality is why we don't have any grassroots people ever get through the primaries. And tomorrow, I hope, was the first time in a long time that we can get somebody that has not taken any PAC money, has spent under $100,000 on a governor race, when all the other people are up over $1 million, and some are even way higher than that. And some of the Senate and House districts people are spending like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. It's crazy. The position only pays $50,000 a year. So obviously they're not doing it for the money. They're just doing it to get in for the power. But I think we need to think about that. Like, why? I wouldn't spend that kind of money to get elected.
Well, Amy, they're not spending their own money.
No, I know, but still,
It just begs the question: why do they need that much money? That's crazy.
Campaign
It's
reform.
crazy. Yeah,
you know.
there's some shenanigans going on there. I did actually last night while we were driving, I actually did some digging on the Guardian, which is for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So the Oklahoma Ethics Commission, you can look at campaign contributions and see who's contributed to who and how much and when. And yeah, this was just kind of one of those. This happens to me a lot, actually. I'll be looking for one thing and I'll come across something else that makes me go, "Are you kidding me?" Which just proves over and over again that they don't even try to hide it anymore. It's literally just out there in the open. And if I can just randomly throw darts at stuff and hit things, that's kind of scary. That means it's very prevalent, right? So last night I was looking through The Guardian and I was looking at campaign contributions and for Governor Stitt, and I think it was Governor Stitt, and some of some of the leaders or the owners, president, VPs of some of the big in consulting engineering companies donated to Governor Stitt like the max amount on December the 28th, 2021. You know what was happening about then? I
I
can't
don't
make this stuff
know.
up, Amy.
The turnpike? I don't know. Yeah, it's so obvious. It's so obvious what's happening, but
Well, that's
it's like
right when that engineering company got their contract.
correct.
It's craziness.
But everybody always tells me, Amy, it's not illegal. It's just unethical. I go, oh, why don't we change the laws and then have somebody that's willing to uphold said laws?
Yep.
But when you think
We're
about
working on it.
yeah, we're working on it. But when you think about who to vote for, just realize, we're not up there just trying to make new laws. We're up there trying to repeal bad laws and just block bad bills too. So you need people that have a backbone and are willing to stand up and not necessarily, run all the bills, because I don't necessarily think that's super important. They run 8,000 bills, Kelly? They can't even read 3/4 of those bills. If they could be limited even more so and bring, 1,500 or 2,000 bills a session, then maybe all of them would get heard, number one, which is State Question 820 that I want to talk about in a little bit. And also, maybe we could get rid of some of our terrible laws. If you read, I don't know, if you don't know how it works, like you change a bill, a little section, and then that section is tied to another section, which is tied to another section. But in each session, you never really get a chance to change everything, because the legislators, if it gets too big, they get overwhelmed. And if it's not from the OTA or the medical association or the union or something that wants to push it through, and it's from a citizen, they're not even reading the extraneous parts of the statute. They're only reading one part. So then you get these statutes that don't make any sense. So you get one section that says this, and then that's been changed in 1987, and you get the other section that says this, that's been changed in 1993, and there's conflicts. And so it's maddening to read through, especially the private property rights section with the no more trespassing, and which state statutes are supplemental and which ones are the founding statutes. And so it's too complicated. We need to simplify it. But it's like the tax code. It's complicated for a reason.
Yep. It is.
But
So you just brought up, oh, go ahead, finish.
No, I was going to say State Question 820, but I got to look it up first.
Mm-hmm.
No. 820, that's not the right one. 820 is legalizing recreational marijuana. I don't want to talk about that one. It's on,
Is it 823?
it's 820 something. Let's see.
827? I can't remember. Well, while you look for it, I will just throw
let me
this
look
out
for it.
there. So you brought up the no more trespassing statute. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't quote it. But I've had a few landowners reach out and say, so the OTA says, they quote a statute on the paperwork they sent me that says that they have the right for the surveyors to come in. And I'm not an attorney, so don't take this as legal advice. But in my opinion, the way I interpret it and kind of the way I picture it in my mind is that statute would apply to surveyors who were surveying for a utility that already has an easement on that property, meaning they already have the right to access it. So they're just saying that if the statute is basically saying if the surveyor needs to come onto your property to do work on an easement maybe they already own, then yeah, you need to let them across your part of the property so that they can do what they need to do on the part that they have an easement to. So in this case, the OTA does not already own any part of your property. So therefore, their surveyor doesn't have the right to access your property without your permission. Again, not an attorney, but that's just kind of the way I think of it. I don't know. Have you ever really dug into that, Amy?
Well, I view it that I think Title 27 or whatever it is, that's like that's the main law. You don't have to let anyone on. And then Title 69 has always been a supplemental, and they have to defer to 27. That's how I read it. And, you know, our lawyer says, well, it's never been adjudicated in court. I said, okay, we'll bring it because I think it needs to be. But how I'm reading it right now and how all the law enforcement, the sheriff's office and everything are treating it is that Title 27 is
Yep.
Controls. That's how I read it.
Yes, that's true. All of that is true. And so, like you said, it hasn't been adjudicated yet. And so I think that's what the OTA does. They just say, well, you know what? We'll just throw it on there. And the landowners that believe us will let us do it. And the landowners who know their rights will tell us no. And that's exactly why, like you said, the police will escort them off if you call them. And that's also why the OTA actually keeps a list, or supposedly keeps a list, of the people who have let them know and notified them in writing that they're not allowed to access their property, that apparently they're telling those surveyors not to enter those properties. So it's worth sending Todd Gore or any of the OTA people that you have email addresses for an email, and you don't need to wait until you get the letter. You can go ahead and send it now that says surveyor's not allowed to access my property.
Yeah, we talked about that. I told them to check out your guide, and that you told them to make sure everything's in writing. And so I got a lot of people come up to me and talk to me about that after that. So I'm hoping that people are standing their ground. Okay, I found it.
And oh, perfect.
Okay, it's not state question 820 something, it's actually state question 840. And so I put the link in our comments, and what I would really like you to do is go to the website and just put in your name and your email and say that you're willing to support the effort. And you don't have to donate money to it, but we'd really like you to sign it. And what this does is, it's because of what's happened to us, and we know this firsthand. When you go to the Capitol, leadership tells the committee chairs which bills to hear and which bills not to hear. So say they have, each House of Representative member gets to bring 8 bills. They get to have 8 bills assigned to committee, and anything over and above 8 bills gets put in this committee called rules, which is where we like to say bills go to die. Although, if you're the OTA, you can resurrect bills out of rules and get them through in 6 weeks. So it just depends on who you know and who you are. But anyway, every House of Representative member should have their 8 bills heard, but that's not what happens. And sometimes they get 0 bills heard, not even a hearing, like not even talking about it and then voting no. Like they don't even get to talk about it. And so oh, okay, hold on a second. So let's see. Tanner says he wants to put the contact email and phone number in the comments for who to call to tell the OTA they cannot access your land.
Okay.
Do you have that, or does that, I can copy that off your document?
Off the top of my head, I want to say it's tgore@pikepass.com, or Todd Gore. It's been a bit since I looked that up, but I think
we can get that. We can put that in. We'll look that up and put that in. Okay. So what happens in the legislature is that the leadership says to the committee chair, hey, we're not going to hear any eminent domain bills. We're not going to hear any citizen protective eminent domain bills this session. You can't hear any. Nothing. Not one. That's what they did to us this session. Last session, they said you cannot hear anything that has to do with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. So this bill, this initiative petition, the state question, says that the leadership cannot do that anymore. That every House of Representative and Senator, I think, has the right to run at least 3 bills that must be heard and receive a vote every year. No more discrimination, no more political games. And then the teeth in this law would be the punishment for denying this right would be $10,000 for the first offense. On the second offense, the legislator would be expelled from the legislature. I mean, you know, there's going to be a loophole for them to get around it anyway, but at least you can have some kind of teeth in there. And I think that's great. So I think there should be more than 3 bills. If you have 8 fantastic bills, then you should get them all heard. But this at least gives the legislators a chance of getting some of their bills heard in session. So 840, what I did was I just put my full name, my phone number, and my email. And I said, contact me. I want to sign it. We can help with collecting signatures. And you can follow them on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, contact us. And what they're really looking for help with is just to know if you want to sign it and if you're willing to help them gather signatures. So former Representative Charles Key is the person and that has, you know, gone through with this, and he met with one of our Pike Off OTA members last week and asked for our help because he knows that we've had, you know, so much trouble with leadership in the last 4.5 years. And I want to point out that it's not because they're Republican leadership. If we would have this problem if they were Democratic leadership too, anytime you have a supermajority, they can shut you down and there's nothing the other party can do. So it's better to have more of a 50-50 split so you can actually get some things done. And reminding everybody that a Democrat and a Republican entrenched in the system are the same. They just have a different letter after their name. So it's really important that we, you know, critically think about politics, and that it's not a left versus right. It's it's a corrupt versus us. And a supermajority, all those people in the supermajority have a reason and a want to stay there. And how do they stay there? They pander to the people with the money. And so this state question helps to get through that and let citizen bills get heard. Now, of course, legislators will probably scam this, you know. They'll tell you they'll run a bill, but then they're really only going to try to get their top 3 in. So it's better than nothing. I think it's a good start. We really need to start over with our whole government, but that's not going to happen. So one thing at a time. But if you can sign up, check out State Question 840, that would be fantastic.
Yep. I just dropped all of those email addresses for all of the right-of-way agents that we have, and also Todd Gore's email address in the comments. So if anybody is looking for resources on how to contact by email the right-of-way agent that's listed on the letter, be sure to check out the comment section and see if if the person listed in your letter has an email address that we have already. It's a good place to find it.
And remember, a lot of the people that are getting contacted right now are along the southern extension. And the southern extension, Kelly can confirm, is not even on their construction schedule right now. So, and it goes out to 2030. So it's not like it's happening next week, which is what they're telling people. So make sure that don't rush, don't be fearful. I was talking to several people last night about this. We're looking for people that are on the new path of the Southern Extension to get their due process in court. And I had several people come up to me and said they were interested in being on the new lawsuit. And to be on the new lawsuit, well, you have to be affected. So either have to have a whole take, a partial take. You have to be left living right next to the new turnpike, so your peace and your quiet and your rural way of life will be severely impacted, and that's light, vibration, noise, anything like that. And just realize that the OTA is always going to tell you everything comes out of their mouth is pretty much a lie, and they'll tell you, oh, we'll mitigate that noise. Anything over 90 decibels we'll mitigate. And then they're going to come back like they did on the Creek Turnpike, and they'll say, you know what, it's not really economically viable for us to protect you from the noise because there's only 10 people that live there and we don't really care. And so that's what they're going to do. So I want you to know that you got to fight up front, and you never negotiate with terrorists, and that's pretty much what's happening. And so realize that, you know, I posted a video on one of my Substacks a couple months ago. Well, actually not a couple months ago, actually a year ago, when my kid was up at Hefner at cross country camp. And I had my phone decibel meter out, and I was trying to talk and do a video 300 feet from State Highway 74, and I couldn't even hear myself talk. Now, imagine, well, there's probably not going to be any traffic on the southern extension as much as that State Highway 74. However, if there ever is, the decibels hit, excuse me, the decibels hit 108, I think, when the J brakes hit. That's insane. No sound barriers, nothing, just a chain link fence denoting the right of way. And so it's a really big problem. It is going to affect all of East Norman, not just the people that are having their houses taken, not just the people that are having a corner of their land taken, not just the people that are living a quarter mile away. I hear State Highway 9 when the wind's blowing north in the wintertime, when there's no trees on the, or there's no leaves on the trees. And I live 1.5 miles north of 9. So
Thing we can hear I-35 sometimes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're like 3 miles away or something.
Yeah, so it's going to affect a lot of people. And flooding, I was just talking to one of our good friends that's having a corner of her lot touched by the southern extension potentially, and about all the flooding problems that have happened on the Kickapoo. And the fact that the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority is unwilling to fix any of that, even though they promised that they would fix the drainage, and they never did. And Kelly has picture after picture and lawsuit after lawsuit of citizens suing over the flooding. Mm-hmm. And so I just want everybody to just be willing to fight, because it's a super important fight. And even if we ultimately don't win everything, we're going to win something. So we just can't lay down and let them do what they want and not hold them accountable, because that's just not okay. And with that, you know, we are filing a lawsuit on the southern, the bridge across the South Canadian River. And because it's important that we hold all state agencies and all instrumentalities and all infrastructure builders to the letter of the law, and that you can't build without telling us what the environmental impacts are going to be, and without having a plan on mitigating that. And it's to protect the citizens who are going to be harmed by this turnpike. And so we're going to have more information on that once it lands, but we want to tell you that we've been working really, really hard to find a way to protect the citizens, even if the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority is able to eventually build the east-west connector and the southern extension, and that we will make them out loud say what the harm will be to the community, and that there will be a way for the citizens to fight that in court. They can't just tell you nothing's going to happen and then deny everything afterwards. That's why we have to do pre-studies and post-studies to see what the flooding is on people's property and what the noise levels are on your property now, and then what they are, you know, afterwards, so you have that pre and post. So we have some exciting news. We can't talk a lot about it right now because we don't have all the details, but it's getting ready to be a hot month, I think.
Yeah, maybe so.
People were asking us about that last night, so we wanted to let you know. And if you're interested in being on a potential lawsuit to go back to the Supreme Court on the fact that the Southern Extension is not authorized in statute, because they've moved it materially 2 miles away, then you contact us at admin@pikeoffota.com and let us know where you live, your address, and that you're interested in. We're compiling a list. And, I told someone last night too, it's like we're not just sitting on your name and not doing anything, but you have to file lawsuits when you have standing. And it has to be, they always use the word ripe, so you can't do anything unless there's imminent harm. And so right now we're in the waiting game. And the longer you hold out and don't sell, the better it is for everybody. So on the Southern Extension especially, don't feel pressured to make a decision until you know exactly what you want to do. And you got to give us, in 30 days, your outlook is going to look a lot different than it does right now. So please do give us some grace with that timing.
For sure. And that also give us time to gather more information so that when you do talk to them, if you have to talk to them, that you're better informed, because we also know that anytime the OTA is working with landowners who are well informed or who understand their rights, who understand the project, that sort of thing, that they're actually treated a little bit differently. So we're still kind of looking into some of that, but just know that it makes a difference for landowners. So definitely stay informed, learn as much as you can. We're still trying to put resources together. Like we've thrown out, what I've done is I've taken information that landowners who've already kind of been through the process have let me know, this is how it worked, this is what we learned, this is what worked, what didn't. And so that's kind of how we put this quote unquote guide together. It's really not a guide, it's just it's an informational piece. Take it and use it however it works. If it works for your family, if it doesn't, then don't use it. But anyway, so we're still working on gathering some more information for that should be helpful for everyone. So just give us time, get it. They're in no rush. Again, they're trying to tell people that they don't give you a copy of the plans until after they have, or at the time that they give you an offer. No, that's something you need to know before the appraiser comes to look at your property. Before you talk to them at all, you need to know, what are their plans? What does this look like for your property? Otherwise, how do you know what questions to ask them when you do talk to them? So tell them right off the bat, email them, say, hey, I need a copy of the plans. We're not moving forward until you send me a copy of the plans. And if you're not going to do that now, then, well, that seems, as though you're not negotiating in good faith right off the bat. You're denying me, and I determine the best for my family. So just let them know that.
Yeah, and you know what else they're telling them too? That the people are denying them access, and that these right-of-way agencies are telling them, well, we can't give you market value for your property if you don't allow us on your land. And I'm like, so you're telling us that you're not going to give them market value? And that's by law, you have to give them fair market value. I mean, just the stuff they're telling these people to scare them to let them on their house, and to without legal representation, to give them a lowball offer. And I just want to point out one thing: you need to take care of your neighbors. And I said this last night. Kelly can talk to this too. Say there's a string of houses that are all about the same, on 5 acres, 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or whatever. They've all been built around the same time, and you have an 85-year-old widow, then you've got a young professional, engineering, like mind, understands it. Then you've got another couple with animals, never really went through this before. Same house, same property, same age. You think the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority offers them the same thing? No, because the 85-year-old doesn't negotiate. She just takes it, recently widowed. Then the younger couple who can negotiate gets a decent amount, and still not, in my opinion, fair. And then another person gets a different amount. So I think everybody needs to stand up for their neighbor and talk, and because the more informed and the more united everybody is, the better outcome for everyone else. You can't let them pick off the weakest. And that's what's happening. It just makes me
Well,
sick. I mean, oh, it's so unfortunate.
Yep. And those well-informed landowners, the ones who know a lot about the project, who understand their rights, those sorts of things, are asking lots of questions, those people are probably going to get a lowball offer too in the beginning, because that's kind of part of the strategy in negotiations is, pick a position that is a lot further away from the landowners and start there, and then they're going to just go up and increase their offer just a tiny bit. So just be aware of that. But what I would say when you come back to them and say, look, when they come and do the appraisal, before they ever give you any offer, just let them know, listen, Director Kelly said, I think it was during the interim study, maybe Sterling's interim study, I believe he said that the majority of landowners are offered at least 1.5 times fair market value. So you can just let the OTA know that that very first offer should be at least 1.5 times the fair market value.
Correct. And then we can
That's
send
the
you,
starting place.
That's right. And we can send you the receipts for that, so you can show them the video where Joe Kelly said that. And it's really important because, like Kelly said, the more you push back and the more you know what's going on, the less likely you're going to get taken to town on that negotiation. But again, on the east-west, it's coming. You gotta be ready. On the southern extension, I don't know why they're trying to get 5 years. Well, I do know why they're trying to get 5 years ahead, but so there's no rush. There is absolutely zero rush on the southern extension. They're going to try to tell you there is, and they're going to try to tell you they're going to lowball you if you don't let them on their land, but ignore them. And make sure you call the police if the surveyors show up unannounced, and have them escorted off your property. Just take care of yourself,
Right.
and check out for your neighbor, for real, because you never know what's happening. It's like elder abuse, to be honest. When scammers come in and try to take advantage of elderly people, I feel like that's what the OTA is doing on some of these properties, which is not okay.
Well, yeah, and neighbors should be talking to each other anyways. If you have not reached out to your neighbor already, you should do that immediately. Find out what they've been told. I think you guys will find that they are absolutely 100% treating neighbors differently. And that will help you spot, the strategies they're using on you and your neighbor. And you will be able to then go back to your right-of-way agent and say, look, why are you telling my neighbor this and you're telling me that? So that's you. And then if it does go to condemnation, then you can tell the judge, look, they didn't treat me fairly because they treated my neighbor this way and they treated me this way. I mean, I don't know if that's, a legal strategy or not, but I would do it. If it was me, I would say this, they're not playing fair. They're treating people differently. And that shouldn't be the case because it's just not right. But yeah, so definitely talk with your neighbors, compare notes. Don't be afraid to call them out. If you're talking with a right-of-way agent and you're not comfortable with them, if you don't feel like they are being ethical or telling you the truth, or it's just not a good fit for your family, then just let the OTA know. Email Todd Gore and tell him you want a different right-of-way agent assigned.
Yep.
Start over.
For
Somebody
sure.
fresh.
That's what I would do too. And you have to learn that. I mean, I actually do that with other things too. If I'm given at work, if I'm given a business accountant that I don't like, or that doesn't do what I need them to do, I ask the central administration for a new one. I've done that several times. You just have to be able to, you have to advocate for yourself, to make your life easier and better.
It's just like anything else. I mean, if you were visiting a doctor for cancer and you didn't feel like this doctor knew what they were talking about, or they were not listening to you, or they were not giving you options that you were requesting, apply those same questions and those same principles to this right-of-way agent. If they're not listening to you, if they're not answering your questions, if they're not providing the information that you're asking for, then you need to ask for somebody else to work with. You would go get a second opinion. So just do it. There's nothing wrong with that. You are not the problem. Just remember that. You are not the problem. You can be as stubborn as you want. You can ask as many questions as you want. This is your property. This decision is just as important as if you were treating cancer. It's just a different kind.
Mm-hmm.
So
True. Well, we want to hear from you about what you like. If you came to our event last night and there was things you liked and things you think we should do differently and where we should go, let us know. Drop us a line at the admin email, admin@pikeoffota.com. If you have an idea for a venue or for a game, I don't know if you were there last night. We did something for the first time. We did a 50-50 board, which was super fun, and my kids ran that for us. We made some decent money, and the person who won made really decent money because we cashed out with her, and then we took all the credit card stuff. But it was a lot of fun. But we've never done that before. We usually do auction things, and then one of our homeowners that was affected on the East-West Connector, they made a ring, handmade, and she brought it, and her husband made it, and we auctioned that off, and a few other things. So. We had a magic show too with Randy. Randy was the magician for the kids. They had a good time.
Randy is the best.
Yeah.
Can we just take
really,
a minute to thank Randy for all that he does? Like,
yeah,
he's so good. He's so personable. Everyone loves him, and he kind of ties us all together in so many ways. So anyway, shout out to Randy. You did an amazing job. Everything you do. So
that's
appreciative.
Right. And so we used to have a lot more events in the beginning when we had a lot more volunteers that did the events, and then we've settled on two. Really, we have three. Two really big ones is the chili cook-off, and that's usually in January, and then the Royal Bavaria is in June, and then we'd like to have another one in October. And they don't necessarily have to be big bangers, but we'd like to have a community get together at a place, and we've had them at the Slaughterville Winery. We'd had them at Hollywood Corners. So if there's something that you think would be pretty neat, and you have any ideas on fundraising ideas or games or things that we can do as a community together as we, try to thrive through the nonsense that the OTA is throwing at our community, please let us know. And if you'd like to join us and help us run these events and do other things with us, it would be fantastic. We need people to write thank you notes, and we need people to help us in the legislature. We need people on social media, and we need people for events. And so it's not like you have to run every event, but if you volunteer for one event, that would really help us out. Because we're all a bunch of volunteers, we don't get paid for this, and it's much lighter work when there's a lot of people sharing the load. So we enjoyed seeing everybody last night. It was fantastic, and we'd love to have another big event in the fall, and maybe some smaller events. And Kelly and I have talked about lunches or meet at a coffee shop for community engagement. And so if you have any ideas like that, drop us a line and let us know. And again, give us some ideas on where and when and how we could do that. And we'd love to make that happen.
Yeah, I keep saying, and drop it in the comments if you think this is a good idea, but someplace like Hollywood Corners or somewhere where we can all just kind of sit outside and bring the kids and just, something informal. Like, hey, let's meet on Thursday night and let's just all hang out and start comparing notes and just support each other, and I don't know, something like that might be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing formal.
Yeah, and up until we have our next event in October. But before we get off, I really just want to say thank you to everybody in the community. Thank you to our monthly donors who keep the lights on. It costs money to run an organization, just our tech fees and our website and all of the things we have to be connected to the community. It gets more expensive every year, even though none of us get paid. And thank you for those people that write us checks at our events and come to our events and engage with us and spread the word. And the most important thing you could do for us is to share the education that you've learned and to share the experience that you had and to share about us. Because there are still people, if you can believe this, there are still people that don't even know Pike Off OTA exists to help the community, and they don't know anything about the Turnpike. I don't even know how that's possible, but it's true. And so if you can mention that and share share the Substack, share our podcast, and share just about our community and what we're trying to do. I think there's so many like-minded people out there. No one wants a data center. No one wants the wind turbines. No one wants the solar power. And you know what? We don't want turnpikes. It's all pretty much the same thing. It's a land grab by different entities, but it's all about protecting private property rights. So if we could get a little bit more organized with across the state with all these different issues, with people that want our land and are using our land for things that shouldn't be used for, I think we'd have a lot more power. And so we're looking to make those connections and talk about how Pike Off OTA can be a central part of that discussion when we bring that to the table. So please do share our information. And then vote, please, tomorrow. Vote. If you are a registered Republican or a Democrat and you have a Republican or a Democrat primary, go vote. And also, I think everybody can vote on that state question, right? You don't have to have a primary for that. So there's a state question on the minimum wage. So go out and do your civic duty, because you can't complain about how bad things are if you don't get out there and throw your voice in the hat. And we need some better legislators, and elected executive branch members would be awesome.
Amy, that's such a great point. It's like we talk about it as being the primary, and there might be people out there who think, okay, my guy's automatic. I know they're going to make it past the primary. There are other things on that ballot that you need to go vote on. So don't just think of it as a primary. Think of it as an opportunity to vote and let your voice be heard on who knows what issues. So I think you can go to OK Voter Portal or something, and you can look at a sample ballot to make sure there's, there might be other things on there that you need to vote for. School board, who knows? There's all kinds of stuff. So show up. Anytime you have an opportunity to have your voice heard, do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in the chat before we get off, so people have it. OK Voter Portal.okelections.gov. You can type in your name and birth date and get a sample ballot. It's really long, so make sure you check it out before you walk in there tomorrow. But we should be back again next Monday, and hopefully, maybe
we'll all be home.
Yeah, we'll all be home. Maybe we'll do a special podcast at the end of the week. We'll see if we've got some news to share with you. But until then, share our podcast, share the Substack, share about Pike Off OTA and the work we're trying to do here in the community and around the state. And thank you all for your support. Last night was fantastic at the Royal Bavarian. We hope to do it again in the fall somewhere.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, everybody have a fantastic week, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Right of Way Report, a podcast by Pike Off OTA. You can join us here every Monday morning at 10 a.m., where we will bring you updates on legislation, litigation, and landowner information.